I did a bad thing.
Again, are we live?
We are. No, not that bad. I forgot to put it on repeat. And it just came to an end.
Oh,
Oh, well.
that's all right. It's good timing. We're good.
Well, it was, but I forgot and I didn't expect it, so I wasn't ready. Classic. Ah,
That's all right. You're
dude,
wearing the
how are
hat.
you? How's your morning?
Um, great. I got up out of bed startled with a comment from my best friend Simon Hamp. We'll get to it in a little bit. Carson is not feeling well. He feels okay. He's got this really deep cough, and the problem with that is that he's supposed to go to weekend 1 of 2 for this thing called NYLT, which is, I forget what N stands for, New Youth Leadership Training for Scouts, which he was supposed to do last year, but he signed up too late because the Scoutmaster got something wrong, or I didn't see it, one or the other, or both. And now he's like supposed to leave today at 3. I gave him NyQuil last night, so like, here, this will knock you out and you'll sleep good. And he's like at 8 o'clock, and he was still awake at 2. And I'm like, what in the hell? So now I think it finally kicked in, and he's gonna sleep until. Which, I mean, he's got to stay healthy. If he's not healthy,
Doesn't he
he
do
shouldn't
that
go.
anyway? Like sleep until.
Yeah, but not on
2.
night medicine. You know. Yeah. So even worse, right? So he's got that kicking in. So we'll see. It's a good chance he doesn't actually go. And then next year he'll be 17. He can still do it, but he should be like already done with Scouts, or not done with. You're never done with Scouts, but Eagle level by then.
Once
Anyway,
a scout,
it's a
forever
struggle.
a scout.
Yep. We do. We got a lot to talk about. We have a lot to talk about. This is gonna go over an hour and a half, I think, if we don't.
Oh man.
Just get to it. Let's say hi to some people, though. You want to do that?
Hi, people.
All right. Sup, chat. Hey, Native
That was
PHP
me.
official. Oh. Thanks for joining, Simon.
Good to be here. Thanks for having me.
Adrian, so good to finally meet you in Amsterdam. What was it, 2 weeks ago? Last week? Something like that. Welcome, sir. Welcome. Sonali. I've got my flag. Sonali gave me this flag. She bought it on the side of the street and gave it to me. Hello, sis. Jim. We got Jim. JB. What's up, man?
Hewitt.
And like, of course, Kirill. Is this the same Kirill? We're Yep. What's up, dude? Yep. How's it, like, Miguel?
It's good. Like, it's the group, the people,
it's the
who
group,
we see
guys.
in.
Yeah.
I feel like I know everybody.
I know Willem.
I don't know this person.
Willem?
Lovelies. Yeah.
Oh, you don't want to. Trust me. He sends the most inappropriate freaking
emojis,
gifts to me all the time.
Yeah. Yep. I think it's the other way around. I think he's got a different story to tell.
He would like it the other way around, I'm sure. How are you guys? Sinang. I don't know this name. Hopefully we become more familiar with your name.
This is
Sinan Gulsever. I hope I said that right. Correct me if I'm wrong. Welcome. Man, so many people. Adrian, we already did. I keep scrolling to the top. The Unwind Front. Another new name I don't recognize. I love it. Indian flag.
It's the same people we've had before. They've just changed their names. They're just like, keeping it fresh.
Could be. It could be just one person this whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey Chaza. Kevin.
Hello.
Man, so many people. Hey, welcome. Very good.
I like this time of day. I think this time of day is working for us.
I think it's better. I think it is much better. It's better for me. I mean, this is like when my caffeine really starts kicking in. And
caffeine. Oh, that would have been a good idea. Damn it. I can't go and get one now, can I?
Sure you can. I can entertain, dude. Go for it.
No, I'll stick with water. It's healthier or something. Something about blah blah blah.
There's water in your Coca-Cola. There's water in here. I'm
I
sure
don't.
it's
I
an
never
ingredient.
have. I never have Coca-Cola in my house ever.
I didn't until these freaking Laravel people started getting me hooked on it.
You're a sheep. You're a sheep.
I'm
Shane the sheep.
carbonated water, first ingredient.
I mean, I would hope that there was at least some water in a can of liquid
It works. It works.
that you drink. Yeah. Good. Right.
If you want to go, you can go, dude. No problem.
No.
No sweat.
No. I
Don't
think
go. Stay right
think
there.
I'll make it through without it.
All right. All right. Yeah. All right. Where do we begin, dude? This last week has been a lot of traction. I feel like there's been a lot of like social media traction or just social engagement in general.
Yeah,
I have posted more things, I think. Could be why.
I'm glad that I have my notifications turned off because it has been going crazy.
So that's something that you've taught me and been telling me for a long time, and I finally did it, and I started sleeping better at night. So they're maybe not unrelated. Yeah, I've had to. It's just there are times when it's like I gotta work, you know, I've got to get stuff done, and it's distraction. So so just know that anybody that's trying to like get a hold of me, I think you probably could figure out how to actually get in front of my eyes if you really tried. But I'm not circling the same places I've always been circling. We're having to filter things through. Vince isn't here. I haven't seen Vince, at least. Maybe he is and he's not listening, but he's offered to help in some of that as well for us. And I think this isn't even on our notes, but I think that's probably a good thing to start with, which is getting away from the Discord discussions for support and moving to GitHub issues.
That is a good first announcement.
That's a good one. Yeah. So we are turning off. Are they turned off? Can people no longer post new ones to Discord?
Yeah, you can't create new ones in the support channel. So I think Discord's staying. We're still on Discord. We're not ditching it, but just support in there is just very unwieldy, and quite a few people have come to me and complained about. I say complained, that's not fair, but it's mentioned that it's hard to find stuff, and it's it's not out in the public, so it's harder for the AIs to find stuff as well. Blah blah blah, which all makes sense. So we should just let's get support out of there.
I think just having it in GitHub issues, making that public and crawlable by SEO, indexing, blah, 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 all that stuff, it brings more eyes and attention to the project instead of locked behind some server you have to join and all that stuff as well.
Yeah.
And it makes it so that we can filter through things much more simply. We can get different types of notifications and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So there's that. That's the first thing. That's being archived. We're not going to be over there anymore. We're telling everybody, like, we'll keep them there for a while. But if you have an active one, make a new issue in GitHub. You can link to that thread if there's like a stream of content there that we need to know about. And that's fine. And that'll be the best way moving forward for everybody, we feel. So there's that.
Yeah, it will be way better.
Hi.
I would say if you just make sure that you get the issues in the right repo, because I'm going to be a bit militant about it going forward. If you've got the one in the wrong place, it's not going to get handled. It's just going to get closed. I'm not going to tell you what you should do or necessarily. I mean, I don't know if GitHub allows us to move between repos, Maybe it does. Maybe I won't be so militant about it. Maybe I'll be kind. But
well, if you
just help by getting it in the right place to start with, that'd be good.
If you are, it needs to be stated outside of a live stream blurb you said once. You know what I mean? That should be in the repo, or maybe even in like contributions in there, in our docs, like officially stated, like make sure you post in the right places, etc.
Yep. There's a bunch of bits that need updating on the website to indicate these kinds of things to people, but hopefully most people get it. Post on GitHub issues, put mobile issues in the mobile repo or mobile air, and desktop issues in the desktop repo, and that is it. And I think the only other bit that's worth noting about that is for other things that aren't like part of the packages that you need support on. Obviously, you can still have discussion in Discord, but email support at nativephp.com. So for Bifrost issues, for nativephp.com issues, account issues, that kind of thing, that should probably all come through support at nativephp.com.
I want to answer this. I want to like table of contents for today. We got an hour. It's already 15 minutes have gone by. We're going to talk about today on stream. We're going to talk about version 3.1 features, the difference between super native and version 3.1. We're going to talk about yoga, literally, actually. And for those that don't know what that is, we'll talk about it. Versus Swift UI and Compose. When it comes to native stuff, we're going to talk about Opcache and threads and scheduling and debuggers, and maybe or maybe not, we talk about impending doom. Possibly not. Automated build scripts. We'd spent a lot of work actually in the last couple of days working on our build scripts and automating that flow and versions and all that stuff. Perhaps we'll talk about security because it's something we're paying a lot of attention to as we progress forward. We want to get to like an enterprise level with this project, and that's going to be an important thing. And there's a lot of layers of security. So that's the table of contents. Those are the things we're going to talk about today. I think we answer this question, and then we say the first person to say of those things that I just mentioned, what do you want to talk about first? And whatever the first answer is, that's what we talk about. In the meantime, because that's
it's fun. A roulette.
Yeah, that sounds fun. So the release date. So, do you have anything to say about those things before we talk about this?
Nope.
Release date. We're shooting for version 3.1 to be released next Friday, I think. I think we'll just do it like on stream because it sounds fun. That sounds like something the cool kids do. And I want to be a cool kid. 40-something-year-old cool kid. Yeah, I think we're going to do that next week. What we're asking people is that it's an open public beta, right? We need people in there playing with it in their current apps and just testing things out for us. That's what we're asking for people to do. So you just change your branch and composer, do a composer update, and everything should just work. It should all just work, backward compatible. And the cool thing is with 3.1, there's a lot of cool, actually, I've got a list here. No one said anything yet. They all dropped off. They were scared of my table of contents, I think. Hey, Seven.
They can't remember what it is.
That's all right. Too much. That's the way I like it. All right. I've got a pull request with a pretty comprehensive changelog for version 3.1. And I'm just going to go through the highlights of it.
So we're starting with version 3.1 because nobody said anything. Is that what you say?
Yep.
It
just led naturally from the release date thing. Yeah. All right. We have moved and migrated everything over to a persistent PHP runtime, which is the biggest freaking thing. That, along with like background QWorker, TSRM threads. That's probably the biggest thing in this. So you're immediately going to see a huge boost in performance. Requests to PHP that were taking 200 to 300 milliseconds now take 5 to 30 milliseconds. I'd say 5 to 50 milliseconds, depending on what you're actually doing. But huge boost in performance for free. There's nothing extra that you have to do. You just update to version 3.1, dev v 3.1 dev, whatever it is, and it just works. So that's huge. Under the hood, we've also done. I've switched over my my builds from shared embedded or dynamic linked to static linking. So there's some cool like under the hood stuff that we've done there.
Can you explain that a little bit?
Not at all. I just did it.
Okay.
It just happened. That's all.
Wow.
No, yeah. So the binaries get a little bigger because of this. Not much. I think it's added 3 megabytes or something like that. But what essentially it is, we're replacing there's like the runtime loading of the library. They were .so files, and now they are a single. It's a single SO that's wrapping all the static binaries. So you get the benefit of, well, it works with Android, number one. And that SO file is actually created in Android at runtime. And then it just links, it just wraps all of these statically linked.
It's a simple wrapper thing.
So that's a technical thing for sure. Like, what does that actually mean? It means that, number one, the biggest thing is that we're consistent now in the way that we are architecting the underwiring of native PHP between iOS and Android. For the most part, it's essentially the same because we're both statically linked. Go ahead.
Is there any like performance benefit to that on Android?
I think that there is a bit. I think that the cold boot time decreases slightly, or the time itself increases. I think that the performance of the boot time decreases slightly. I mean, maybe a few milliseconds, maybe 10 milliseconds. But from page to page, because those items they're statically linked. It's just the boot that takes a little bit longer afterwards. It's going to also be snappier. However, that will pale in comparison to the speed performance boost that you're going to get from all of the stuff we've done for the consistent PHP runtime, persistent PHP runtime. So you're not going to even notice or feel that, which is why it's like, what do we really gain by doing any of this? And to me, it's that we're consistent in the way that we are architecting things underneath the hood.
I think we finally brought together the build processes for Android and iOS because they were different, and now we've got them into one place, and our custom extension is now just one instead of two separate custom extensions, right? It's just one extension that both can build into, like, compile into PHP, which is great. And that means that we can now finally automate the builds of PHP, which we've been doing manually for a really long time.
So, and maybe people don't know this. You have never compiled Android binaries. I had never compiled iOS binaries until this week.
Yeah,
I don't know if you did. Well, technically you did. Now it's all run through GitHub Action, so we don't even have to think about it. But
I don't think I'd ever done it, because I remember getting like, where's the repo for this on my machine, and I couldn't find it, and I was like, well, I clearly haven't pulled that down ever, which is nuts. Yeah, and then so just the fact that now we can put that onto, and have already got it in a GitHub action, and we can build all the versions of PHP, which means now we've got, what versions of PHP do we have?
Well, that's the other part. So we decided to go back to 8.3. So we're running currently with 3.1. And the cool thing is it's all automated. So there's a cron, I think it's every Sunday, that just goes out to php.net, detects what the latest patch versions are for 8.3, 8.4, and 8.5.
So it's automated as well.
It's automated.
Yeah.
If there's a new version, it'll automatically build with and without ICU, Android, iOS, 8.3, 4, 5. And then we're working through the logistics of it, but inside of 3.1 it will have an automated way to just detect what is the right set of binaries for your version and pull those in, which leads me to the other huge win that we've got with 3.1, which is the install command. So currently with install, it will every single time it'll go out and download the binaries every single time. Now we are putting those into storage, and we're detecting that if it's in storage, just skip that whole process. So now what would take 8 to 10 seconds for an install is like 1 second. I mean, it's just if you've already got the binaries downloaded, that is.
So first time it will download like the right version, like the latest version of the binary, and then next time you run install, it's not having to download anything if nothing's changed.
Correct.
Great.
Additionally, in the installer, if you're on a Mac, it will install Android and iOS by default. You can pass a flag to only do one or the other. It'll also do without ICU instead of asking you. So there's no like prompts at all on Windows. It will just do Android without ICU.
Yeah, makes sense.
And Linux as well.
But you can ask for ICU presumably then.
You can, just pass a flag with -- with ICU.
Cool.
And then there's another one in the installer.
Go on.
It does force what was force before, it does by default. So it'll zero out the native PHP directory by default. You don't have to pass a force flag in, but if you do pass a force flag in, it will delete your binaries from storage and re-download those for you. So
that's nice. Yeah.
Yep.
That whole the force thing, we found out pretty quickly that it was better to just do force every time, right? For when you're making changes, if you're updating the package, you need to do force so that it copies the latest files over. And now that we've got plugins, that makes sense to just do anyway by default, because any custom code should be in a plugin.
Along those same lines, we've bumped. So we did this just the other day, yesterday, I think it was, or the day before. So when you do native PHP or PHP Artisan native open iOS, it was opening the project. Since we went to plugins with version 3, we now have pod files, which this gets very technical, but now we have Cocoa pods, and now everything goes into a workspace. So now when you run open, it opens up the workspace, which includes the pod file. So if you were trying to do like an open and then run from Xcode, you couldn't do it. You'd have to open up the workspace, and it didn't even actually exist in time and all that stuff. So now you run open, it'll open the workspace, and now you can hit the play button, and that'll all work from Xcode if you want to watch the logs and all that stuff, which we do all the time. We have to on our side. So I'm surprised it didn't come up earlier, but I'm glad that it's fixed.
Yep. Yeah, this is good. C. Thomas Wales or C. Thomas Wales.
I think it's.
I can see that.
I think it's Connecticut Hummus Wally's. CT stands for Connecticut. Hummus.
Yes, it is way cleaner for us. If you were like thinking about doing something like that for building PHP, I mean, there's no reason why you can't continue with that. One of the things that we haven't done yet, which we'll get to hopefully at some point, is to actually open source the build pipeline that we've got for PHP, so people can see how that works and the extension and all of that kind of thing. But I'm not going to hold a particular time frame on that at the moment because we've got other things that are a priority. But when that is open, then ideally you'll be able to kind of compile whatever PHP you want, and we'll provide, like we've done on desktop, a way for you to swap out the binaries that would normally be installed by default with your own custom ones. So that'll be good, because then you can pick and choose which extensions you actually need. This whole like us building ICU for you will be irrelevant. And I think that touches on Jim's comment as well. Like, so, it is a pain. I've done some more on that, but still ongoing.
Have you tried from the new scripts?
No, not yet.
Not. We could, that might be an afternoon, you know?
Yeah, I'm going to give it a bash over the weekend and see if it comes out. But the thing with that, which is like, you know, we went down this path when we were looking at ICU originally. We shouldn't build all of these different versions of PHP for people. We should just provide the mechanism to build the version of PHP that you want. So I think eventually we won't even have like baked in ICU builds. We'll just like, here's the way to do ICU, and it's just like pass a flag to the build process and it just works. So yeah, that'll be it. And then you can do what you want.
This is a insanely true statement. So thank you, Connecticut Homus Wallis. I want to talk about this. Pretty easy. Number one, Google stated, now it was more than 10 years ago, but they stated they will, all of their packages that they're building for iOS are going to be CocoaPods, and they haven't retracted from that, which has opened the door for CocoaPods is still, whether or not Apple prefers you to use them, kind of doesn't matter. They do have their own package manager, the Swift package manager, SPM, but both are supported, and we support both of them. So all of our plugins allow you to add, SPM or CocoaPods into the actual plugin, so you can pull those in dynamically, and we'll compile those for you at build time. So, yeah, they're not deprecated. They're not the way that Apple wants to move forward, but I think the community, open source community especially, is rallied around CocoaPods, and they're not stopping. There's no signs of that letting up. So we support both.
Nice.
Thanks.
Yeah, I like that. I think until the wider community there decides to ditch CocoaPods, we'll keep on supporting it.
I'm looking at, all right. So back to 3.1 configurable SDK versions. So you can put your compile SDK, min SDK, and target SDK for Android in, and we support now, that's the big news, Android back to version 8+. Comes with a caveat. I'm going to say it. It needs to be shouted. I will be working on docs today, later. Excuse me. We do support. Hold on.
Oh my goodness.
I'm
He's dying, folks.
Okay. No, just give me some Coke. I need a bump. Hold on.
Should I get the coffin ready?
I have a joke about that.
Sorry, that was terrible.
At the very end, the guy is getting chased by a coffin through his house and down the street and all this stuff. And he gets in the bathroom. The coffin smashes through the door, and he grabs something and throws it at the coffin. It's like a bag of cough drops, and the coffin stopped. Yep. All right. So thanks. All right. So here's a caveat. We are backward compatible to version 8+. We are also using right now a web view for everything. Older web views on older devices, and you need to test this with your apps, do not support modern CSS scripts, meaning Tailwind 4 does not work. There's ways to shim. There's ways to get stuff kind of working. JavaScript will break, which will break navigation, which will break all sorts of stuff will be broken if you're just thinking it's just going to work. You have to revert your CSS tooling and JavaScript, potentially JavaScript tooling, to support older versions. So there's going to be big caveats. It's not our responsibility. You can use Tailwind or not. You could use jQuery. You could use Bulma. You could use Bootstrap. You can use anything. So I don't feel it's at all our responsibility to make sure that the web view is pre-configured to adapt these things for you as a good developer. It is your obligation to make sure that works. We've built the underlying runtime to support the older versions of Android, but how you decorate is really up to you, and you need to test on older devices or older emulators.
The thing I will say about that, I mean, connects all the other stuff that we're doing, and we were talking about last week. You've got me doing it now.
You're welcome.
The native UI stuff. So that just doesn't apply, right?
Dude.
Like it's not Tailwind, you know, like we might have Tailwind looking classes and HTML looking stuff, but when it comes down to it, it's going to render, and we're going to make sure that you know, we get fidelity on those components to support all of those devices as well, which does mean that in some cases the APIs necessary won't be available, but you know, that'll be like a much smoother sort of transition to native UI, because the most of the components that we're going to be using are there from, you know, Oreo or whatever, aren't they? So
I feel it's a separate topic. We're going to talk about native versus version 3.1, but I will tell you, all of the native stuff I've tested back to Android 8, and they all render exactly the same on everything. So, but let's stick to the rest of 3.1. We'll talk about
sorry,
that.
That's a distraction.
No,
I'm just
it's
excited.
Not. It's
I'm just so
it's
excited.
related. I know.
I'm so excited.
Your cheeks got a little flushed. What?
No, they didn't.
Oh, never mind then. What was the other thing? There's like one more big thing. Oh, this was a good shout from Vince, actually, who didn't show up again today.
Oh, Vince.
Vince getting tons of attention here. The well, all right, a performance, still along the lines of performance on Android. So what we were doing is, if you have your version, your NativePHP _app_ version set to debug, we unzip that zip file every single time and unpack it. If it's set to 1 or 2 or 1, anything but debug, really, any string, the first time we unzip, the second time we don't unzip. We detect that it's the same version, and we are like, oh, skip that unzipping. However, in order to detect that version inside of the zip, because it's actually inside the env, we are using there's like a way in Android to inspect a zipped file for that actual variable, which took like 3 or 4 seconds of raw compute time on a modern device with good memory. So instead, we're opting for a version file that is created at build time that we're parsing instead, that takes like less than a millisecond. It's sub-millisecond. So cold boot times, even when you're not in debug mode, are going to be super fast. So another huge performance. So like just everything on Android is going to be super fast. The boot, the navigation, all of the interactions with Edge components, and the God method calls and all that stuff is just really, really optimized. There's still work to do there, but it's like now we're getting down to shaving off a few milliseconds here or there instead of like whole seconds. So
yeah, this is good. I love the performance improvements, especially like I was reading something about, somebody was saying about building an app in Expo versus choosing to do it in Swift, you know, and they were like, the boot time was like 1.5 seconds. And there was a few comments on this thread that I was reading, and it was just like, that's really slow. And, you know, it's like 1.5 seconds to get from a cold start for your app's not loaded at all to the UI is ready, you know, and people can start doing stuff. I think that's really fast, honestly. But
I don't.
Go on.
I don't. Open up your clock app on your phone.
No, I know that's I can't because I'm using it as a camera. But a really small Swift app is fully native using all of that. It's going to like snap. But as soon as you introduce things like it's calling to the network and it's going to do some stuff, but it's authenticating with a third-party service, it's going to be pretty slow, and you want to shave off all of the other things as much as possible. I like under 2 seconds, I think, is the threshold, right, for like good usability.
Yeah, for 90 maybe 80% of apps, that's the benchmark, that the industry standard. Under 2 seconds is where you want to be. Here's the cool thing, man.
Where are we?
All right. So, well, I'll get to that in one second. I want to say one more thing about 3.1, and then I'm going to talk about Opcache. The other thing in 3.1, Vince suggested this yesterday. I implemented it very quickly because we actually already have a command for this. So if you are using plugins, there's a command already to show all unregistered plugins. What we're doing now at runtime is if you have a plugin installed, but it's not registered, we'll put a warning. It won't stop the run process, but it will warn and we'll say, hey, you have this installed, this one plugin, but it's not registered. You have to register plugins for a security thing. Cool. So now all of that's there because so many people are like, why my alert doesn't work or whatever it is.
So many times.
I've done it.
To register.
So now we'll warn about that, and you'll be able to see that stuff.
Nice.
Okay, Opcache. So I played with this actually for like several hours last night, and I got it working. It's not going to be part of 3.1 because it's too experimental right now. We want to get 3.1 shipped. It'll go out either in a patch or some other version later. But Opcache, cool. I was like, before we even start, hey Claude, before we even start, I want to benchmark, put in some tools, put in some logging so we can see exact times before and after, so I can see the difference. And I will tell you, the way that Opcache, the way PHP is badass, you guys. Like, you don't even know the stuff that they've done for 30 years that it is arguably like server-side code to do mobile development is huge. If you can bridge the gap, which we've done, between native and a server-side language like PHP is, or C, you have huge things that you can do that you just can't do with other frameworks. Opcache is one of those things. So there's a couple ways of storing Opcache. Opcache, for all intents and purposes, takes basically all of your PHP code and just bundles it up into a small file, and we run against that. Essentially, I'm dumbing it up, but we run all of our code against this cached version of PHP, and that can run inside of memory. It can be stored in memory, or it can be stored inside of a file. The problem with memory is that when you close the app and you reboot it, it does it all over again, and you don't ever get the performance benefit of that. But if you put it into a file, into a non-cached file, so in Android there's a cache directory, in iOS there's a temp directory. Those get cleaned by default at random times, and you don't want that. But if you put it into a known place that is persistent, the first time it boots, and there are ways, and we are gonna like move this to like compile. When we compile, we'll create this Opcache file, and then on first boot, we will have that Opcache file in place. We'll read from that all the time. My benchmarks yesterday, just for the PHP side. Okay, so I'm like, what's the total cold boot time? Didn't change all that much because there's a lot of stuff like Compose is doing, and there's a lot of stuff that we're doing still with WebView and like all this other stuff that adds to the total cold boot time. It's not that it didn't change a lot. It went from like 1.8 to 1.2 seconds, which is still great. It's still amazing. However, booting up 3 processes, 3 threads of PHP, 3, and they're not even booting in parallel. They're booting in serial, which can be changed. They can boot up in parallel. 23 milliseconds for all 3 of them to boot up. It's like PHP is not the bottleneck in cold boot time. It's all the other stuff that we're doing that can absolutely be optimized. Insane. insane.
I know that there's like a bunch of stuff that I did a bunch of optimizations on iOS a while ago, like I think for V2 or something. Like we don't need to run all migrations and things every time. There's a whole bunch of things we can skip doing, which I'd done. I don't know if that's still, maybe something changed there, but there's all of those little things where you go, oh, we're doing this every time. We don't need to do that every time. And when you look at PHP and like request handling, once the app's installed, the code's not changing, right? Until we change it. So that if it can be cached, and that can be, if we can compute that cache ahead of time,
yep,
push that in, then you just don't get any of that first time computation.
There are so many other things we can do. So like there's 8.5 comes with a JIT compiler, so just in time. And at least for iOS, it's locked down on Android, but on iOS, we talked about that this morning a bit. We can actually pre-compile what are called hot paths in PHP. So things like code that it runs all the time for like your containers, your bootstraps, like all these different things that are always going to be executed pretty much on every request that you would make can be written to machine code. So iOS allows you to create that in machine code on the hard drive, essentially, instead of like the separate process that's running in memory or whatever. It becomes so like nanoseconds to execute this stuff instead of milliseconds.
We're getting to the,
it's actually not hard to do it either.
With the tools that PHP has already got built in, we are essentially compiling your script, your userland code, not PHP, the engine itself, but your actual code, your application code, so that it's in the best shape possible to just fire and go right from step one. That's incredible. Like I've had this in mind to do for a very, very long time. And this is so,
it's a compounding effect. And that's why we're so busy, because we are getting the project to a place where we're now capable of doing these things. We've had a lot of work to get through to get to this place. Plus the LLMs I've gotten that much better on top of that. So it's this exponential compounding of benefits. We're going to be able, that's why it's so exciting. Every day it's like, what magic sorcery are we going to find today that, I think like in my goal is to, I want to beat all other cross-compiling frameworks in every single benchmark. That's what I want. That is my goal. I think that we actually can, we're going to smoke them, number one. We're going to smoke them. It's going to happen.
In a very delicate, sensitive way.
In a you can buy me steak and lobster kind of way when we're done with me smoking you on this. But it's gonna actually break beyond that, where it's like, now that performance isn't even a factor, what more can we do? And I just, like, all other frameworks are doomed, I think.
So this is the thing, right? I've been saying it for a really long time, that PHP is an incredible language because it's so accessible. And although at a language level, there are certain things that it can't do. If you stop treating it like I need to do that work in PHP and start treating it as just an abstraction layer, a glue layer that lets you configure other things to do that work, you unlock a whole world of potential of what PHP is absolutely capable of and arguably built for. And people are like, and PHP is just for the web. No, man, no. PHP is an incredible language, and it's been honed, battle tested for a really, really long time. Oh boy, when we can share the stuff that we're doing now, it's gonna be so good.
I'm doing it now.
No, don't do it. Don't you dare.
All right, I won't. Yeah. So yeah, dude, there's we're discovering there's still, like we've been saying it for over a year now, there's technically nothing stopping us from achieving that. We're still even more optimistic today than ever before on what we can do. Literally can do anything.
Better and better.
It gets better and better. It is better. It is in the best shape it's ever been today. So tomorrow it'll even be better. All right, let's move on from that because there's lots to talk about.
Well, I mean, like, there's an obvious connection to all of that. It's like we want to keep all of that open and free as much as possible. We have to be balanced about it. We need to be able to fund the development. So some of this stuff is probably going to end. We're going to have layers of things that might end up being paid for packages or whatever, just here and there, not too much. If you can support it in any way, or if it's like subscriptions to this or that, Bifrost, and we're going to have the subscriptions that we've had. We're going to have a new version of that coming soon, and we've had the course come out now, or like,
I was going to say that,
but the things that just we're putting out there is like, this is stuff that we know that you're going to find valuable. We're going to make sure that we put the effort in to make that valuable to everybody, but the expressed intent of all of that stuff is just so that we can keep on doing this and keep on making it freaking awesome. So yeah,
I think
that's like, please help.
You a little glazed past it. I think that we potentially have a completely different audience here than we have on X or LinkedIn, but we did announce the other day we're doing pre-sales for $101 one-time fee for a video course that is underway. And we're expressly saying that don't expect anything. We're going to try to beat expectations, but please don't expect anything till probably midsummer. It's going to take us a long time to get anything really rolling in that direction. That we're kind of fundraising the whole venture, and we are getting help. We're going to be announcing that soon. We are getting help from the community.
Good people involved in this,
and they're not free. And so all the money really that we're doing is just so that we can continue to focus on this, but still provide the education bit that we know is necessary for this to grow. So if you can part with $100, $101, you know why we did $101? Because everyone does 99. And I'm like, let's make up the $2 that everybody else just leaves on the table.
All right, let's make up the $1 and then add another one instead.
Right. Yeah, why not?
Let's make it 132.
We could still sell. I don't think it's really the $30 that's dissuading people, but we will say that as we go on, that price that is early bird price. We're probably going to settle around the 250-ish mark, 251 mark when it actually does come out. So it is a great discount, but you're helping us to pay for the rest of it to be done. So that does help us completely. Helps us to stay in what we're doing now, which is all the performance and optimizations and breaking ground stuff.
And if you're not interested in a video course, ultimately that's going to go in depth on all of the stuff, we're calling it a masterclass. That's fine. A lot of people in the community keep saying that teaching content, this sort of whole space is dying. I don't know if that's strictly true, because we get a lot of people asking us for a video course, but
people have already
that might not be your preferred. Yeah, exactly. We've got loads of people paying for it, but if that's not your preferred method, that's fine. And you still want to support the project, we accept donations. Support the contributors. Like, we're going to be doing things to support financially the contributors as well, if we get enough sponsorships. So yeah, we'll be pushing all of that, and you can do that through Open Collective. So we've got opencollective.com/NativePHP.
I want to ask you, thank you, Simon. I want to ask you to clarify this a bit more, because I can answer that on the surface of what I think, but I want to make sure I'm answering exactly what you're asking here, please. So I'll wait until you clarify, and we'll move on from there. Morgan, you're welcome. There you go. Or is it
Nice.
more? Is it more? And then Genshitilet.
It's Morg and Chitelat.
Got it. Morg. Thank you, Morg. Enchilat. We are dicks.
No,
anyway.
Everybody gets it. This is not.
I know.
Taking the mick out of your names. We're just like joining the fun. You can.
Yeah. People
slap us in the face when we see you.
That's fine. We'll take it. Take it like a man. Mm-hmm. Yeah. There's several comments here on.
Yeah, exactly.
It's still needed.
Did you read? Who was it? Christoph Rumpel's post from the other day about like basically just having the human element in the stuff that you do. It doesn't have to be every part, but I mean, I'm paraphrasing massively. Essentially, like there's still a desire to have, I'm putting some of my effort into it, and when you're consuming it, you're appreciating that it's really me, even in the world of like perfect AI video or like audio and text content being generated completely by AI. And I think that's true. Like I think people will be able to still distinguish to a certain extent what's real and what's not, and value what's real. And
there's not
well, no, but there's still a human. The distinguishing thing, we could debate about this, right? It's a distraction.
Yeah,
but the distinguishing thing is one aspect of it, but the reality of it is the thing that actually matters. Like people will want things that they think are real and authentic, and I think people want to do things that are real and authentic. So that's what we'll do. We're going to do that for the video course.
Yeah, we're not. Yeah, that's, I think, a good point. We're gonna be real, you guys. This is the AI version of me talking now. So
yeah, imagine that.
Yeah.
Where's the real Shady?
Please stand up.
Yeah.
Free Britney. Yeah. Anyway, Yusuf, you didn't come back to me, so I'm just gonna answer it the way that I think that you're talking about this thing here. So you missed the cue, dude, but I'm just gonna answer it how I want now. Too late. You missed your chance. That's not the one. There. No, that's not it either. Son of a.
No.
I did that on purpose. All right. This is it. I cloned the kitchen sink and played with it. Thank you. I can see a lot of web-related Laravel structures there. How much of that is likely to be thrown away in the final thing? All right. So we're not going to, this is a big point. And actually, this is one of the points on our show notes. 3.1 is not the super native stuff. Number one. Let's get that out in the open. I've had a lot of people come to me and this week and say, oh, I thought this was, it's not. And I don't care if people get confused about it. We, when we first announced this in Laracon EU stage, we said it's going to take a couple months probably to get this stuff actually fully released for the native stuff. That being said, it is on a branch. You can pull it down. You can play with it. And just go to Twitter and you'll find all the links for that stuff. We're not getting rid of the web view. We're going to try our damnedest to not have to bump to another major version and have breaking changes for native PHP when we introduce the super native stuff. So you should be able to all of the stuff just works the way that it is when we release this. In addition to that, though, you have the option to do everything completely native, and that's what that's one of the things we're working on. We're thinking about the entire time we're building all this stuff out. Every time I break new ground on the super native stuff, I go back and I test it with a kitchen sink app and see that everything's working as you would expect. And then that's kind of like with this 3.1 stuff, a lot of the stuff for native, which is that persistent PHP, and like multi-threading and all of that stuff, I was able to bring it back into 3.1, and we get all those performance improvements that I've learned by doing all this stuff back into our current implementation. So it's going to actually make it a lot easier to transition from one to the other in some regards. The benefit there, though, is, well, and I think this is what you would say or will say at some point anyway, we strongly urge everybody, when this comes out, when the APIs for this, when the Blade syntax, when all this new way for super native comes out, to try to quickly adopt it, because there's so much more that you, and more importantly, your users of your apps or your clients' users will gain from this, being an actual native application. Besides performance, we probably can get very close on performance. Token Wrangler there's a burglar at the door. I hope it's not really a burglar. Is everybody okay? I think everyone's okay. I'm just going to talk like everything's fine. So everything's good?
Yeah, sorry, you could carry on. You didn't need to
all right
interrupt you.
So, but I did. Sorry.
Yeah.
So I think probably one of the biggest things is that you get all of the accessibility. So think about like a web view. If you understand the whole concept of web view versus native, it's going to be very, very obvious and easy example. You get a real native app versus a web view with you have to change the way you think about some things a little bit, but not drastically and not a ton. And that's what we're trying to smooth over. It's going to be everything's PHP. There's no JavaScript. There's no HTML. There's no CSS. There are Blade files for rendering. You'll have a class when you want to run a function. It's just like Livewire. It's very similar to Livewire. And like there's things like navigation we have to think through, animations we have to think through, performance is at the top, security is right underneath that. That'll flip at some point when we've nailed performance, which I think we've gotten now. We're pretty close. Yeah. It's a moving target though, to be honest. So no, we're not going to have ideally any breaking changes. We're not going to get rid of the way Laravel does things, but to do super native stuff, you're not going to use actual Tailwind. There's not going to be JavaScript. There's not going to be any of that stuff because it's not a web view. It's native, right? And we're using PHP to achieve that. So there's my rant. There's probably bits that I missed, but that's what you're here for.
Yusuf did follow up with this. Maybe not all the structure is needed, which I still don't think helps clarify what the question actually is, because what do you mean by structure? Do you mean Laravel's structure, or like
I don't know what
structure you mean. Built inside of that or on top of that? Like for me, the thing there, and I think this is actually really important just to like get over to people, is PHP is a great language, as I've said. I love using it. We love using it for doing this stuff on the web. The best framework that has been built in PHP that allows you to build applications rapidly and in a very sensible way is Laravel. It's the best framework in the world right now. And I have wanted to use that to build other things because I know Laravel really, really well. So that structure isn't going away. Like if you want to do something in something else on top of native PHP's core things, like go ahead. It's open now. You can do that. But Laravel for me personally is like, I know it. I want to use that. I know what I can tap into. Or, you know, and if you're thinking like there's tons of classes that you're not going to use on mobile and whatever, I mean, you're talking about things that are taking up bytes that are just like irrelevant. Having it there, if it works, versus not having it there, you know, at some point we'll work out how to strip that stuff out safely as well. It's just,
I think we already do the exclusion list.
Yeah, we do.
Config.
We definitely strip a lot of stuff out, and we, you know, compose a install no dev and all of that kind of stuff. So it's just, yeah. And when you do this like compiling hot paths and opcache stuff anyway, like again, it just gets stripped right down to like absolutely what the machine needs to run. So if you were worried about like network bytes and all of these, like unnecessary data structures and blah, 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 it just doesn't matter. It's not going to be a concern at all. It's so small and tiny. There's no overhead to it. And you just have all upside because of developer experience. And that's what we're shooting for.
And it's so much more than your web.php route mapping to a controller method. There's so much more to Laravel than just that. You can get away with a lot with just that, but there's background scheduling, there's a task scheduling, the scheduler. I've already got that working, you guys. It's not released, but I've already got it working. You just put a command in the scheduler into your console.php in your routes file. Set it to every 15 minutes on network or on Wi-Fi or on cellular or when plugged in and all that stuff. That's all done because we have multi-threading, we have background tasks, and we're integrated directly into like Work Manager on native. So like even if the app itself is completely closed, it'll still trigger. PHP will boot. It takes milliseconds. It'll run your command and you're off to the races. So like the whole, like if you're offline and you're saving data to the database locally in SQLite and you're offline, you just have a command there that every 15 minutes will detect when you're online. It'll only run when you're online. And if you're online, it'll sync that data back to your API. All that's done. That's console commands, that's scheduling, that's background threading, queuing, another whole thing to put some bit of work onto some other thread for backgrounding a task so it doesn't lock up your UI is imperative. Laravel is already built for all this stuff. We're just connecting those dots between the two. So
there's even things like, and this is going to sound a little bit wild, but the using models that directly speak to a server-based database. So you don't even have to think about the HTTP layer. That can all be done. I've done it with Laravel on the client side. So we've got that kind of stuff coming. Things like the mail drivers. Okay, you're not going to be sending the mail necessarily from the device, but you can trigger some third-party API using sort of the idiomatic, notification send stuff from Laravel, potentially. I mean, it's a bit like, that sounds a bit quirky and maybe you shouldn't do it that way. I'm just like spitballing, but it's things like that where it's providing all of these little, I mean, they're really just interfaces to the things, and just like, it's a known quantity. And then you can just tap into that, and it, with the right drivers behind it, with the right implementations underneath, it's doing something on that device or with a backend service that's kind of pre-configured to work this way. And suddenly you're not having to think about all of that stuff. You're just, like native devs right now, they're pulling packages together in this massive ecosystem, and they're trying to figure out how all of this stuff should work on a mobile phone or whatever. And we're already ahead of that in Laravel. We've got like all of the thinking has been done in a sense, and it's really just like wiring it up and going, okay, well, this should use that service or this should use that API on the device, and instead of JavaScript in the browser or whatever. And that's it. You're getting all of that for free, which is amazing. So, and I mean, not just we're getting it for free because it's Laravel, but then you're getting it for free now because it's all open source as well. So it's there's a lot of really cool stuff that's just like there now.
And that's not changing. Someone asked about that. No, that's not changing. Nope. There's a few questions here. I'm just gonna fire right through them. Yeah, it's nice. Good combo. I want to skip that one. Do you still work? I want to skip that one too. Okay. All right. There's a.
Yeah, go on.
I want to. Well, I want to just say this one.
I want to touch on.
We can do that. We can touch whatever you want, dude. The there you go. I actually wrote an article. Go to our blog section. I think it's probably 3 or 4 down on the list about that both Android and Apple offer through the app stores this mechanism where you can get a quote unquote fingerprint from the app that's installed on the device, and they become a proxy for your API backend. So you can do a lot of stuff with that. This is a known mobile architecture or design that allows you to make a request from your device, knowing that it's coming from your device, goes to App Store or Play Store first. They have like mechanisms for that. They authenticate that request is actually coming from your app installed, and then forwards that request off to your API backend. So there's a lot of things that you can do with that. We've already solved a lot of that stuff. Push notifications, there's already a plugin for that. What was the one that you want to talk about before that?
I think it was Zach said something about monetizing through agent skills.
Yeah, this is what he said. I'm cool.
That was good. I didn't see that one. Yeah. It's true.
It's true.
Slightly cooler.
100%.
We've already got the plugin dev kit, which is kind of a bunch of agent skills that we're selling. So that's, yeah, I mean, maybe Zach was just trying to hint at that's the thing that we're doing to help us remember. Thanks, Zach. Yeah, that's a slightly tricky one. I don't like. I think Filament are doing it as well now. They've got some skills that they're selling, and that Dan's put together, or the team there put together, which is good. You know, it's a good way of monetizing some stuff.
Technically, once we get all the third-party plugin stuff in place, there's nothing stopping you from making a skill that you can sell through NativePHP to people as well. So like, the sky's kind of the limit there, and that's still not even really being where everyone's talking about skills today. Less than a month ago, everyone was talking about MCP servers all the time. You know what I mean? Like, those are things that are constantly changing. So our focus isn't that right now. Our focus has to be on monetization because we have to keep the project going for sure. That's not one that we haven't really discussed it, but it's not one that we really feel obliged to run after, especially given the fact that we have a Claude Code plugin. It's a premium price. We haven't sold many of those. And that helps you create these kits, the plugins. Coding with RK also said the same thing, and we should shout out Raj. What's up, brother?
Yeah,
welcome.
I keep missing a lot of the chat because it keeps
skipping
around.
Been moving. Yeah, I know, you guys.
I have to look at the proper feed on YouTube or whatever. Actually, I don't do this every time, but there is the Twitter live stream as well, and there's chat there that I've just realized we don't get blended in here on Riverside, which sucks.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So I think somebody from the NativeScript team, or works with NativeScript at least, has commented to say they're not. It's Jamie Birch said, "I'm not free to watch right now, but tell me everything you've got on how NativePHP's native to JS boundary works, and I'll look back later." Which, I don't know if we want to talk about native to JS because we're not doing native to JS. But Jamie, when you do watch this back, I think the simple answer is it's not JS. It's PHP.
No JS. It's PHP. Yeah. Rolling our own thing.
It's in the name. Guys. The clue's in the name.
These two real quick. Is Health Kit included or in the pipeline? We will make a Health Kit plugin at some point. There's some things that we are reserving for us to do officially. Number one, because it helps us the most monetarily. Just being honest about it. And number two, some of these things like a revenue cat or in-app purchase, wallet, whatever, we feel need first-party support. And the funds from those sales will go right into that, even if it means that we have to hire somebody or whatever to do that. Same thing, yeah, Health Kit. Yes, we will be doing a Health Kit plugin at some point. It's just not a priority at the moment. We're trying to get the native stuff going, and on this, no. Blaze will not further boost super native because we're not using, I know, we're overriding the render method in Blade. So we have our own pipeline for that. And I promise you, it's going to be exponentially faster than what Blaze will do for web, for a lot of actual reasons. It's not a flex there. It's just inherently the way that we're doing it, shared memory. We're writing binary essentially right to disk. So
there will be some parts of that pipeline that will be improved if Blaze touches them, but I don't know if it does or not. I need to look into it much more deeply. But basically, that bit of like compiling all of the Blade component, like working out the slots and which one fits in where and how the parameters are passed between them all, where Blade, just like raw Blade code, gets turned into like the internal memory representation of the things that you're trying to do. If that's improved by Blaze, then yes, it could improve, but there's also potentially some gotchas there because we've not built this with Blaze. Blaze only came out like 2 weeks ago or something, so it's something to explore. Anything that will improve Blade at that side of things is going to be fine, like good for us. But that's also not the most painful part of the process for this thing, because again, if we're doing pre-compilation, which we do for views, then it's that first experience of compiling the views is not slow, because we do it when you do the build, not when the user runs the app necessarily. Well, I'm saying that, and I'm actually thinking maybe we don't, because we can't get it into the right place when the time comes. I don't think we do copy the compiled view files over, but I can't remember. There's maybe not so much advantage there at the moment for something like this, just because we can do a lot of stuff ahead of time, and maybe we just need to take a bit more advantage of our opportunity to do that.
Yeah, but I mean, it's something we can have. We're always going to look to optimize. So we are using, so that was this comment here. We are compiling to native, but it is Blade that is compiling. So I may have spoken too soon, and I'm fine saying I was wrong on something. Blaze might be able to help us. Or at least like the principles of what Blaze is doing, we maybe write our own sort of implementation for similar concepts or whatever, but something to look into. Yeah, I could not have spoken better myself. Thank you, Cry. What is that? Cry Shardinge. Shardinge. Cry Shardinge.
Dingy.
Shardingy.
Shardingy.
We're picking on everybody. That's great.
Shanae.
Yeah. All right. So we've got 15 minutes left. That was fun. We got everyone excited. We see the hot topics here, right? We talked a little bit about security. I'm not sure if we talked about native versus 3.1. I will say on the note of native versus 3.1, super native is not version 3.1. A lot of performance improve, a lot of things we went over, but it's not the native stuff. That's going to take us some time to flesh out. It's a very new world. I only just got like event broadcasting back into the native side of things and re-rendering the UI tree and stuff like that last night.
We want to make it good as well. We want to make it so good. Like the first version, we were saying this morning, the first version should be essentially our stake in the ground of how we want this to be. And we don't want to do things that force us into a channel of making, I'll say, the same mistakes as other frameworks from the past that have tried to do cross-platform development, where they've done, they've had to do a massive rewrite and force a bunch of apps, going through an upgrade process to go through very painful upgrade processes. We're dealing with very, very stable technologies in general. We've got very few dependencies, and the ones that we do have, they're very stable as well. So we think we can get to a place where this looks like the way it's going to look for a very long time, and so that you can rely upon it now and know that you're not going to get like bitten in the butt 6 months later or even a couple of years later and have to rewrite everything. Because I think that's really important, and it's only going to take us a little bit more time to get that into the right shape, so that it's kind of future proof in that way.
We look at this in a larger scale than a package for the PHP Laravel community. We are looking at the first iteration is probably the most important step that we make in this world. The fact that we've cracked it, the fact that we're optimizing, the fact that we're figuring all this stuff out. And it's so hard because you don't know what you don't know yet. You always learn stuff later, and then you look back and be like, damn, I wish I would have known this then. So we're trying to take more time and experiment and explore a lot of this realm before anything's official. That's why, like, even like the super native, there's a repo, super native repo. It used to have like all the what was it, Twitter, Facebook, and all these different examples. I've taken those out because that's moved away from compose in a way, and we might go back to that. And like there's a bunch of different things there. So it's all alpha. Like all of this is alpha. It will be released. This is the way that we want to go. In fact, to answer this question, the video course, all right, super native or just native, those are the same things, but I think you mean like web view versus native. We will focus on both in the video course for sure, but 5 years from now, I don't think anyone's going to be using our project to use the web view. Probably less than that, probably a year from now, no one's going to be
I think that the thing that's noteworthy there is the majority of people coming into this at the moment are coming at it from web, because that's the audience that we have. The technology that we're we're building on top of has been focused on web, and that's where it has a lot of appeal right now to a lot of you who have maybe never done mobile apps before, but you're familiar with web and you're familiar with Laravel, and we're bringing you along the journey. It's like, over here there's this whole world of really cool stuff that you can do, and it's a huge pie, arguably bigger than the web, and there's a lot of potential in the next few years for that space. It's going to grow massively. There's going to be a lot more competition, but there's going to be a lot more stuff to do. It's going to be moving faster than the web. Frankly, that's always been the case, and we're trying to help you move step by step, but as quickly as possible, over to that way of doing things. And it does take a little bit of rewiring of your, the things that you've been used to. Once you're there, it's very, very straightforward. We're not like getting rid of the concepts of some of the web stuff, but when you get used to doing things that way, you won't want to use the web view to do so many things. You will still use a web view occasionally for stuff, but it's going to be like a small portion of your app does this in this particular way because that's convenient or whatever. But the rest of it you'll be doing in really, really amazing like UI and animations and everything in this super native stuff.
That was a good question, I think, related to that too. So I guess I'm assuming people have this understanding. Essentially, you cannot put native, to my knowledge at least, maybe like WebAssembly or something like that, but you cannot put real native elements inside of HTML. That's the whole thing. That's the whole point. They're native. They're not HTML. There's a big difference. So you can't put native elements in the web view. However, a web view is a primitive component that you can put inside of native. In fact, that's exactly how everything works now. It is a native application with a web view component being your front and center, everything that you're seeing. So that's exactly how that's working.
I'm going to blow that statement out of the water a little bit because
come on, do it.
Two things. First of all, is like when you think about what the platform is actually having to do when it pulls in HTML and renders that, it's using its own native rendering stuff. Okay, it's specific maybe to the web view and it's contained in the web view. But look at like a select element on your phone. And it's if you don't do anything weird to it, like if you just use the proper select element HTML select,
that's true,
it's going to render a native component. And that's the platform seeing the HTML and going, that maps to this, native UI widget that we've got.
They built the bridge. Yeah,
yeah,
Safari,
exactly.
Chrome,
and it's like, then they're using CSS for layout and all of these other things, colors and blah 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 blah, right? So that's a whole thing of work on its own, but it's still native. Like, that is native. It's just contained in a web view. That's one way of thinking about that, and that's completely valid. The other thing is, there's actually nothing stopping you. Certainly on iOS, it's possible, because I explored this some months ago, of taking a definition of HTML that's not, like let's call it a web component, that's not rendered natively by the web view. Like, the web view doesn't have the definition for how to render this thing to the screen, so it'll just get ignored. But you, because you're in an app, you decide in your app how to interpret that HTML. And you take that HTML and you create a native component. There's a couple of things you can do with that. One thing you can do is just render the component anywhere on the screen. So you can just pull the content out and you can go, okay, well, it's this thing and I want it to appear up there. And that's how things like, what's it called? Hotwire native is working to do bridge components and this kind of stuff, where you're sending essentially HTML still over the wire from your server. That app shell is picking that up and it's interpreting some of that HTML differently, because it's specific to, I know I'm in a Hotwire native app, so I should do this, and it instructs the native app to do stuff. So you absolutely can render native components from the web view. But the next step beyond that is to essentially replace the component in the web view with a native one that you've rendered. And that's really interesting, because if you can get the position of that item on the page, you can overlay it with an actual native component and make it track.
Simon,
but
Jesus
that's
Christ,
really
dude.
messy.
Why would you want to do that? Why would no one's gonna?
Well, this is the thing. I was like,
don't do that, you guys.
This is why we ended up going down, well, not one of the only reason, but it's one of the reasons why we ended up going down the route of truly native, because you don't want all of the complexity of that kind of nonsense. But it's possible, it's like, it's doable.
Yeah.
You just don't ever want to do it.
You make me feel old. I'm saying no to things. I don't like it.
Sorry.
Don't give me stuff to say no to. I will tell you, RK, you know the person. That's the only hint I'm going to give. When we are ready, we will announce, and it will be exciting, and everyone will love the announcement. And this, in fact, was a conversation we had this morning. And I've got to go because I had something come up. So we're going to end this at 11:30 okay. Eastern. So the way that we're building this out is there's going to be a lot of room for third and first party UI plugins that will allow for things like this. So I think our obligation initially is just to render native the way that, unopinionated elements, and let you style them how you want to, but there will be room for libraries essentially of like UI libraries that you can ship as a plugin. And if we map to like just known elements, so like native : button, native : text, you could just like install and register a plugin like this, and it just changes the whole theming of, and then maybe give you some extra syntax that you can use as well. So that's the way that we're looking at this going. I think that's a proven model just in the last, 15 years of doing web development. That's how everything kind of works. That's how people like to work with things, where they just install something and it just instantly gives them this awesome, cool, new, whatever appeal to it. So yeah.
Yep.
That's it. I think we've hit most of the show notes. Most of them. Is there any one out of these that you want to?
I can carry on if anybody's got any questions and stuff you want to continue chatting for a bit. I can cover these bits if you need to go, or we can leave it till next week. I think actually those things
miss out on stuff.
Yeah, that's no, right, if you've got to go, then you
can do it. I just feel like people don't like you as much, you know?
I know. It's true.
It's you're British. You can't, it's not your fault, you know? But kind of it
I'm
is.
so sorry. I need a strong cup of tea to make me feel better.
He means whiskey.
They're the same
thing. Isn't that what the Brits? Yeah, that's what the Brits say. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Cool. If you've got to go, let's wrap it up.
It's better if you don't.
Lol. That's it.
Cry Shardinji.
Yeah.
Cry Shardinji.
No sympathy. No sympathy. I love it.
Yep. All right, guys. Thanks for the week. Our tentative plan is right now we'll release 3.1 live on stream next Friday.
Go try it out
and please go battle test it for us. We need your help. If not, we're gonna ship bugs and it's your fault. So we warned you.
Nice.
Yeah.
Good job.
Cool. All right, folks.